Hi, and welcome back to the channel. It's true. My name is Norf, and this week I thought I would talk about confidence on camera. Is that what it says? Does it say confidence? Does it say confidence? I'm really not sure. Gotcha. True North, video 23, intro, take 2. Hi, and welcome back to the channel. It's true, my name is Norf, and as you saw from the opening sequence, I didn't come across as particularly confident, did I? That was put on, I hasten to add. But this week, I thought I would share my 4 top tips on how you can be camera confident. These tips will work if you're in front of a camera creating YouTube videos, if you're presenting online to your teams or even to customers, or if you just want to take selfies. How do you portray that you've been in the spotlight ever since you were knee-high to a grasshopper? Well, let's unpack that in this week's video. So if you're ready, let's get started. Camera confidence. I'm not talking about faking it at all. What I am talking about is bringing about a sense of authenticity and being able to project the real you. What are some of the things that you can do to portray yourself as being confident on camera? I've got 4 tips to share with you this week. They all begin with P. There is also a bonus tip right at the end that I believe also begins with P. With all of these 4 tips, they all revolve around you being intentional, to focus on getting 1% better each time you're sat or stood in front of the camera. The first of my 4 tips is to plan or to prepare. What's the message that you're trying to portray? What is it you're trying to put across in your video or even your live presentation that you're delivering either to your teams or to your customers? There is an element of being able to script and figure out what you want to say. I've spent a bit of time honing the skill of mind mapping. Now, as you know, I love using pencil and paper. This medium is perfect for trying to brainstorm and get ideas out on paper in terms of what you plan to say in front of the camera. From mind mapping, you can choose to create full scripts. I tend not to do that. I just create bullet points of the things that I want to say. There are 3 ways that you can choose to plan delivering your content. You can either fully script it, which is something that I used to do, but not anymore. That's because I now do points 2 and 3, which is to just bullet point what I'm going to say. Of course, have it arranged in the correct order. And the third point is to be spontaneous. What is it that pops into your head? Is it appropriate for you to say? If it is, say it. Because with that, there'll be some natural energy that will come out, and you'll see a huge difference between what just comes out of you naturally, if you're forgetting that the camera's there, versus reading off a script or reading off a teleprompter. Always spend the bulk of your time planning and preparing what you're going to say. The reason you want it planned and prepared is that if you've got it up here in your head, when you're stood in front of the camera, you don't have to worry about what is it I'm going to say, because you've already got it up here. The second of my tips is to simply practice. Once you've got your mind map out, once you've created your script or bullet points, practice it. Say these things out aloud. It's only when you say them aloud and you breathe life into the words, can you actually hear them. You listen back to them and think, actually, that's a really good phrase. I'm going to keep that. Then with your pencil and paper, you write it down so you don't forget it. Or it might be that when you say it out loud, you think, cool, that phrase is terrible, I'm not using that. And that gives you an opportunity to come up with another way of saying what you mean to say. You know that I'm a massive fan of practicing. What does practice make? Not this time. I've created a mathematical equation around practice. P equals plus P. What does that mean? Practice equals positive progress. I've often shared that notion of if you do something for 8 hours a day, you're gonna get good at it. And if you apply that notion to this when you're practicing, the more you do it, the better you're going to become. Therefore, practice equals positive progress. And when I say practice, I mean to practice. Physically stand up, set up your smartphone, record yourself delivering your message. Or if you're going to be sat down in front of your computer, record it on your computer. We'll come back to that right at the end. Then comes delivery day. This is the third tip, and the third tip is just to perform. to do it, to deliver what you've practiced. Remember to enjoy it. Also remember to prepare to perform. What do I mean by that? There'll be things that you'll be doing to get yourself ready. I'll leave a link just up here of how I get myself ready before I am due to deliver anything, be it on camera or be it via podcast. The fourth of my tips is a big one, and this is playback. During your practice, remember I'd said that you need to record your content, be it on your smartphone, be it on your computer, but just make sure that you've set up a camera or something to record your practices. Because what you're going to do in this part, the playback, is to literally play back what you've practiced. If you've got the opportunity to record your performance, and when I say performance, what I mean is either your presentation or you're sat or stood in front of the camera, if you have that opportunity to record it, play back that recording first. You'll want to spend a little bit of time just playing back what you've done. Now, I get it can be a real challenge watching yourself back and listening to how you sound. By playing back, you can see what went well and you can keep some of those things. Also, by playing back, you can see what didn't go so well. Once you've identified those, that then gives you an opportunity to change those things. When you watch your playback, it's super important to give yourself 3 thumbs up. What were the 3 things that you saw that went really, really well? Also, during your playback, you may have seen a multitude of things that you absolutely detested, but just take one thing away. If there's one thing that I'm going to improve for the next time that I do this, what is it? And as you change that one thing every single time, before you know it, you've got so much better. I cannot emphasize enough, the playback part of it is so important. I'll tell you a story. When I was training back in the day to be a radio presenter, one of the things that we had to do was record all of our shows, our broadcast shows, on a thing called cassette tape. Showing my age now. But this was back in the day when I had a full head of black hair and everything down here wasn't silver. It was all black. And listening back to those cassette tapes back in the day were absolutely awful. In fact, I managed to get my cassette player working again, and I played back some of my old recordings to the kids. They did say, "Yeah, Dad, we know that that's you, but wow, your voice sounds so different." But in order for me to have got better, I had to listen back, sometimes painfully, to the shows that I'd recorded. Only by listening back to what went well and what didn't go so well, could I then identify the things that I wanted to change. So, playback is super, super important. And just before you even contemplate putting the thought together, these recordings will not see the light of day. No. Never see the light of day. And my bonus tip this week is perspective. Get perspective from someone else. Someone that you trust, not someone that's going to take it and post it onto social media, because that would be poor form, right? Like really poor form. Dependent on how lengthy the video clip is, you may want to share all of it or share just a portion of it. It's always useful to get somebody else's perspective on how you think you've done. We're always our own worst critic. So to play it back to someone who knows you, who you trust, will give you valid insight. Their perspective on your practice or your performance will be absolutely key for you being intentional and for changing some of the things in your on-camera performance that you don't like. And that's it. This week, we looked at my 4 tips for being confident on camera. The first one is to plan, to prepare. The second of my tips is to practice. Make sure that you practice. Put the hours in. Practice makes... yeah, you've got it. Practice makes positive progress. The third of my tips was to perform and enjoy the performance. You've practiced really hard for this. Get stuck in, enjoy it. The fourth of my tips was playback. It is super, super important that where you can, you play back your practices, or if you can, play back your actual performance. And then the bonus tip was perspective. Get somebody else's perspective, someone that you trust that won't post your practice onto social media. And that's it for this week. Thank you so much for choosing to spend your time here. You know I'm a big fan of the number 3, so please do 3 things for me. If you like the content, please do give me a thumbs up. Remember to subscribe to the channel as well, and also hit the bell notification so you don't miss out on when I upload brand new content to the channel. Again, thank you so much for your time, and I'll see you next time.